presented by First Commonwealth Bank on WCCS 101.1 FM, AM 1160, WCCSradio.com. And it's time for our interview segment at 8:11, and our segments are brought to you, as always, by Marcus & Mack, voted Best Personal Injury Law Firm in the Best of Indiana County contest. Marcus & Mack, a law firm representing injured people. And this interview is being streamed on Facebook Live, so joining us in person, we'll go left to right. Chris Anderson, White Township Manager, and Barb Hague, the chairperson of the White Township Stewardship Committee. Folks, it's great to have you on. First off, how was your holiday?
Oh, it was great. Wonderful.
You had a good holiday? How about you, Chris?
Good. It always goes too fast.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I understand that. So let's get down to the meat of the business. We were talking a little bit off mic about this draft stewardship plan that is now being presented to the public. It's not the final mission. It's not the finish line, but you're a good chunk of the way there now, right, Barb?
Yeah, wow. We really came together. The committee's been terrific. And came together, and everybody drafted a section of the plan, and we went through an editing process, and we came to the decision that this is now ready for public comment. So it was really a great coming together there a few weeks ago.
Let's talk about what necessitated this. This goes back, I think, several years here in White Township when there was a plan in place to kind of take care of some of the invasive plant species to try to eliminate them. But a lot of people from a group of, I think it was Friends of White's Woods, had objected to a lot of those plans. And then the township supervisors say, let's just get a stewardship plan formed and get things together. Maybe you can fill in some of the details, Chris, that I might have missed.
Yeah, so we had the township had a professional several years ago started looking at White's Woods and picked out a couple different items, one being invasive species, put a draft plan together, and that plan was sent to DCNR. DCNR came back and said, you know what, White Township, we want you to have some public comment incorporated into this plan. So in December of 2021, the supervisors put together a resolution creating this White Township Stewardship Committee, picked a 5-committee member board, and at that point they said, hey, we want this committee over the next 18 months to do something. And that something looked like edit a draft plan that we had or create a new draft plan. And that's what kind of started the process the first 18 months. And then eventually was extended out to full 2 years.
So, Barb, from what this sounds like this was, as Chris was saying, this is a new draft instead of taking an edit of a previous one.
Correct. We went through a process of research and fact-finding. We did a community engagement to gather information and to all kind of get up to speed together. Everyone had different ideas about how to care for the woods. And by hearing from experts and talking with others, we all kind of came to understand the woods a little bit differently and or maybe more wholly.
Now, this was supposed to, as Chris said, take 18 months. This was extended a little bit because the research and the fact-finding, I think, it took a little bit longer than originally anticipated?
So did rapport building.
Okay.
Yeah, finding common ground. That was part of a large part of the early process where we all didn't know how to work together. We didn't know, none of us knew each other, or I guess some of us knew each other, but never had worked together. So to build that rapport and gain a little bit of insights and maybe a little trust too.
Chris, you were a part of this, obviously, from the beginning as the White Township Manager, the beginning of this stewardship committee. So stewardship, this report focuses on White's Woods, but can it be used on just about any other green space that the township has?
So originally the intent was to start looking at the White Township properties. That was a huge task. So we really focused on the White's Woods and basically the subject matter that the experts that Barb was talking about was specifically to White's Woods.
Okay, so this will be just for White's Woods in this case. Are there plans maybe in the future that this committee tackle a plan for the rest of those properties?
Not today, not at this time, but that's certainly a possibility. Yes.
I would imagine that probably after all the work being done on the White's Woods stewardship plan, maybe the guys and girls on the committee deserve a break.
I think right now this 90-day comment period is a good breath of fresh air for them, and I think that they can take this plan, absorb it, and when they reconvene here, hopefully 90 days or so to look at the comments, they'll be ready to get back at it.
So we're looking at like maybe like March, April or so before going back into it, maybe taking some of the suggestions the public has into account.
Yeah. Like April, May, something in that where we absorb the comments and determine whether or not anything gets incorporated or changed in the plan.
I know it's
based
early.
on those.
I know it's early days, but have you received any comments yet?
We did have a couple come into. We have a couple different options. We have email. You can fill out a form online. We did have a couple come in yesterday. I did not look at them yet.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. I mean, at least people are looking at the plan. That's the big thing. Now, maybe you can give, maybe Barb, you can give our readers kind of a little bit of our listeners a Reader's Digest version of this. What are some of the big things that would change that are I guess either changes or alterations or things that are pretty interesting that are a part of this plan?
Oh, there's a lot. There's a climate action plan portion of the plan. Mm-hmm. There's also a very, very strong language about the strictly limiting the removal of any trees in the woods.
Wow.
In White's Woods.
Okay.
That anything that is felled will stay on site, or anything that blows down will stay on site.
Okay.
And that there's only a few reasons to remove trees from the woods at this point, and that is because of disease or an insect, or I think there was one more thing, but very limited.
Okay, so I remember going up into White's Woods one time doing an Eagle Scout project up there and seeing trees that had been blown down by storms.
Yeah.
I think I remember somebody calling them widow makers at certain points just because of the way they were leaning. Would safety be a concern?
Oh, absolutely.
Would be another reason for removal.
Absolutely.
Okay.
But not necessarily removal, but maybe to take the tree down, but the tree would then stay on site.
Okay, so the tree would stay on the ground. It wouldn't be taken out of the woods.
Correct.
Okay, that I can see. Chris, maybe you can talk about some things that you found interesting with this plan.
So one thing I found interesting is some of the common projects that everybody thought about, and I think that we do have a couple in the works, including a deer exclosure fence, a small trial area that we could fence to see if we could get some stuff to regenerate. And as you know, deer browsing in the woods has been a problem, and they chew on everything that grows. So there's also some unique plants, some unique flowers, things like that I've learned about that really didn't know existed. So it was a good learning experience.
Speaking of deer, one of the other issues that has come up as this has progressed has been a proposal every now and then that has popped up for archery deer hunting to go on in White's Woods. Was that part of this plan, or is this something completely different?
There's a deer management section of the plan, but specifically, no, there was no discussion of a hunt or anything like that.
Okay, so you're trying this fencing plan then first.
Yeah, and it's just a small area. There might be additional areas in the works, but it's just kind of a small trial area.
As Chris was saying, this is going to the deer in there. They eat just about everything, so it doesn't give a lot of the plants that are part of White's Woods a chance to grow.
Correct. And Cindy Rogers did there's two maps in the plan that are Cindy Rogers mapped in the year 2000 of wildflowers that she found that no longer can be found in White's Woods.
Oh, good heavens! That's a shame, really.
Yeah.
But it's great that the ecosystem is working in there in that regard. But it's becoming overrun in that regard as well.
Yes.
What about trail preservation? Because as we know, White's Woods is a big hiking spot.
Oh, yes. That's absolutely 100% on the table. You can hike to your heart's content there.
All right, excellent. Also, you had mentioned this in the initial news release that you want to see, the goal of this is to see White's Woods become what I believe it was. You said an old woods,
an old growth
woods.
Yes.
So maybe you can clarify that for our listeners. Old growth. You're talking about like big trees and a lot of brush and everything like that.
Yes. So there's an organization called the Old Growth Forest Network, which is a national organization, and you can register your your woods to be part of this organization, and there's a few restrictions, and including being paid for any of the timber that is removed. So that is off the table.
Okay.
And other than that, you can still manage for invasives. You can still cut trees for safety. There's still management practices that can happen, but the essence is that you want this woods to mature and become an old growth forest eventually, which will be hundreds of years. But
yeah, it will take a while.
Yes.
It's not going to happen overnight.
No, for sure.
All right. So, Chris, with this plan, we're now in public comment, and you mentioned people can mail the township office. They can come up and take a look at it. They can look at it online and submit a form and email it. After this comment period is over, what's the next step?
So after the comment, after this 90 days, the committee's going to come back together for a meeting and review these public comments. Once those comments are either reviewed or incorporated or looked at, they will ship this plan off to DCNR for a review by them.
All right, and that review, we don't know how long that could take.
We don't. We don't. I expect them to do a thorough review and take this plan and
obviously,
really
yeah,
take a good look at it.
Obviously, a thorough review. So once again, let's give the particulars here. The plan is available in person if they want to go up to the township office.
I'd rather them use
use the website.
Yeah, use the link online. It's 40 plus pages, so
yeah.
I don't want to charge people to print that out. So
all right.
I'd like them to look online, take it, read it, and then submit comments. WTinfo, whitetownship.org. Call the office with their comments or.
All right. So WTinfo at whitetownship.org. The plan is on whitetownship.org. You can find it just off the main page, right? Mm-hmm. All right. Excellent. Well, we're just about out of time, but I did want to thank you both for coming in on Indiana in the Morning because this is a very big issue for White Township. And please keep us updated on the progress because I know that this is going to continue to be followed very closely. Thank you both very much for being a part of our show today.
Thanks, Josh.
Thanks, Josh.
Thanks, and have a happy New Year, both of you.
Yeah, same.
All right. Chris Anderson and Barb Hague from White Township's Stewardship Committee joining us today on Indiana in the Morning, presented by First Commonwealth Bank. Our interviews are presented